before us today, Honorable Kwame governs Agbodza as Minister Designate for Roads and Transports, Roads and Highways. Thereafter, we shall have Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Minister Designate for Education, and Honorable Eriko Poku, Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture. Honorable members, we've agreed to start the day with Honorable Governor Kwame Agbodza. Clerk, may you invite him to take the seat. Clerk of the committee, may you proceed to conduct the swearing in for the nominee.
I hereby.
Honorable nominee, your microphone, please.
I, Governor Kwame Agbodza,
Swear by the Almighty God.
swear by the Almighty God
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
Touching the matter in issue.
touching the matter in issue
Shall be the truth.
shall be the truth,
The whole truth.
the true whole truth,
And nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Honorable members, may I find out from my ranking member whether he has opening remark.
Chairman, rightly so. I have some opening remarks to make on behalf of the minority caucus. First, we congratulate our colleague on his nomination, and also to say that we have noticed from the communication coming from the presidency that this time the letter was duly signed by Mr. President himself. Suffice to state that there is no cabinet yet. So we would want to draw the attention of Mr. President that in his letter, since there is no cabinet, he couldn't have copied secretary to cabinet. And we noticed from the letter that he's copied the Vice President, Jubilee House, the Chief of Staff, Jubilee House, and also the Secretary to Cabinet. There is none. Having said that, Chair, we also would want to express a view on some 3 important national issues.
Honorable ranking, I recognize point of order.
The Constitution makes provision for a cabinet, and then it makes provision for appointing ministers to fill the cabinet. So the cabinet exists as an institution and has its secretary as ministers are being appointed to that cabinet. So you cannot say that because the cabinet, which is made up of the ministers, is not yet fully constituted, that there is no secretariat, that there is no secretary to cabinet. I've worked at the office of the president before, and I know that there's an office there that is the cabinet's office that will usually have a secretary. And for records purposes, documents have to be copied them so that they keep the records. So please, this level of trying to belittle everybody and create an impression that people don't know what they are about must stop. And secondly, I see that you're about to read a copious press conference, and I have an objection to that pursuant to Order 2671 and 2.
Honorable Ayarga, your first point is well taken.
Yes.
We cannot preempt what he will say in his remaining remarks that he will have to do. So I agree with you that cabinet exists as an office, so in the constitution, and whatever letter that you are writing, at least you should make provision for a copy to be given to that particular office. So, honorable ranking member, may you proceed,
Chairman,
with your...
Chairman,
are you on a point of order?
Yes, please. On what Honorable Ayarga said.
What is your point of order?
Yes, let me refer to my colleague to Article 76 of the Constitution on the establishment of a cabinet. It says that there shall be a cabinet which shall consist of the president and vice president and not less than 10 and not more than 19 ministers of state. 2, the cabinet shall assist the president in the determination of general policy of the government. 3, talks about there shall be a secretary to the cabinet who shall be appointed by the president. As we speak, all appointments duly made by the president has been communicated to the country. We don't know of any appointed secretary to the cabinet as envisaged under the Constitution. So if a letter is written to the speaker and copied to the secretary to the cabinet, who is unknown, so it's right for the leader, minority leader, to have raised that. We don't have a secretary to the cabinet duly appointed in accordance with the Constitution. We don't have to. We know there's a secretariat, but who is the secretary to the cabinet? Who was copied? So let's agree and move. We are talking about the secretary to the cabinet who was copied in the...
Honorable members, I think from the discussion, the Constitution is very clear that there shall be a cabinet, there shall be a secretary. And if cabinet exists and a letter is written, copied cabinet, I do not see anything wrong if such a letter is copied to that particular institution. I think it is in line with our normal practice that a copy of the letter. So, honorable members, can we make progress? Is it on the same issue? No, honorable Whip, I do not think we should spend so much time on this issue. I am minded to give the floor to the ranking member to proceed.
Too much time.
Just
an observation.
Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip.
Speaker,
I am minded. I am minded to give the floor to your leader,
yes, my leader
to proceed
will speak,
with
but I have
his
an
comments.
observation to make, pursuant to what the Honorable Mama Ayarga said.
Honorable Chief Whip, I am minded to give the floor to minority leader.
No,
to
Speaker, are you
proceed.
saying you allow me to speak? Is that it?
You will speak later.
No, I want to speak
leader.
now. I insist I
minority
speak now.
leader,
no,
proceed.
It's important I speak. It's important. It's important. Yeah, so you should listen to me.
You didn't say what to speak on the point of
But you should listen to me first. No, you raise a matter which is not right.
Mr. J.
Speaker, we cannot begin on this note. He made a point. If you just tolerate me just a minute, leader. He made a point that...
Honourable members, can we make progress?
Minority leader. No, I insist. I need to say this. He made a point.
Honourable members, can we make progress?
Belittle. No.
Honourable minority leader, you have the floor.
Us. We are members of this committee. Respect us. Respect my opinion. Listen to me. What? No, what is that? Why? I respect the chair.
Honorable members,
I do respect the chair.
honorable members,
She also respects
I intend to manage the proceedings today. Having taken a point of order,
Yeah, so
I have given the opportunity to my left side to also come in. And after that, I do not want us to engage in a banter on a preliminary issue. That is why I pleaded with you that let's give the floor
Yes,
to the minority leader to proceed.
I concede.
Because
going forward,
taking you, I'll have to take some from here, which would involve, you understand? So,
Speaker, no, please.
Put up your mic. That's why you should do. You should respect him. Who take this here?
Why? If for nothing at all, at least we
Chairman,
listen to leaders.
Chairman.
When we meet, we listen to
Mr. Chairman.
It's a small point.
No, let us try and tolerate each other. What is all
If
this?
you had allowed me, just a minute.
Yes, we would have
But
come
you were allowed.
forward.
You should
Mr.
be allowed.
Chair,
I should not be allowed.
honorable members, order. Honorable members, order. I do not think we should be debating point of order. A point of order has been raised and have created the opportunity to my left side for a response. And once a response has been given to the point of order, we should proceed. So, honorable minority leader, you have the floor.
Speaker, is it the case that you won't listen to me? If it's the case that you won't listen to me, that's fine. I'll give it to you.
Mr. Speaker,
But my
Mr.
colleague,
Speaker,
my senior colleague,
I think he
Honorable
doesn't
Ayariga,
have the floor.
use the word.
He's been disruptive.
Use
He's
the
been
word.
indisciplined. He's been
Attributing it to
disruptive
the
and indisciplined.
respected
Look,
minority leader.
Look, we
That
need
this
Mr. Speaker,
attempt
Mr.
at
Chairman,
seeking to belittle.
we need
that
to
word should be
understand that
withdrawn.
this is an extension
No,
of
you shouldn't be allowed
Parliament.
to be using those words on the
This
minority
is an
leader.
extension of
It's most
Parliament.
unfair.
He
It's
ought
not
to
fair.
understand that. He's been a member of this Parliament
it's
for
not
4
fair.
terms. He was out of. You didn't give him the floor yet.
You do not have the floor.
He doesn't have the floor either.
You see, the minority leader has the floor. So please, Honorable Chief Whip, just give the minority leader the opportunity to this thing.
Speaker, you know, in this house, I respect you a lot. If it is a case that you are insisting that I shouldn't speak, I should defer to my leader, fine. The point I really wanted to make, a word used by Honorable Ayariga,
Honorable Chief Whip.
saying that the
Honorable Chief Whip.
He used that word. It should not be
Honorable
entertained.
Chief Whip.
No.
Honorable Chief Whip.
Well,
The floor
Speaker, you can
is
have your way.
given
You can have
to
your way.
the minority leader on whose behalf you want to speak. And I believe he will deal with the issue. That is why I'm pleading with you that let's give the floor to the minority leader. Yes.
Honorable Chair, I think we on this committee, we try to respect each and everybody's view. There's something that we need to observe here. Let's try as much as possible to be tolerant to what we have been tolerant over the years. But why is it that this time around you want to gag and you don't want us to say what we have to say? Oh, no, please. Why, if you are not giving opportunity for people to express themselves, this is the floor of Parliament.
Honorable Deputy Leader, with all due respect, I am to manage the affairs today. A point of order is not supposed to be debated. So a point of order has been raised. And I have given an opportunity to the other side for a response. Are we going to debate the point of order? It is on that basis that I was with a view that once we have taken a response to the point of order, the member speaking should be given the opportunity to continue.
Mr. Chair, if there's a serious concern, obviously you should allow it to be expressed there. You should listen to each other. Please.
Speaker, listen to me.
Honorable Minority Leader, you may please proceed.
So, Chairman, as was earlier observed, I need to reiterate on behalf of the minority caucus that we are pleased that upon raising constitutional objections to the earlier communication from the presidency, the right thing has been done. This time around, Mr. President himself has signed the letter, which letter is dated the 16th of January 2025, signed by himself with his full name. However, we are concerned about some other matters contained in the letter, one of which is the fact that this letter has been copied to the Secretary to Cabinet Office, Jubilee House, Accra. In view of Article 76, 77 of the Constitution, which I hereby, with your leave, proceed to read. 76(1), quote, "There shall be a cabinet which shall consist of the President, the Vice President, and not less than 10 and not more than 90 ministers of state." 76(2), "The cabinet shall assist the President in the determination of general policy of the government." 76(3), "There shall be a secretary to the cabinet who shall be appointed by the President." Mr. Chair, in our view as minority, there must first be a cabinet. Here we are. We've only considered 3 nominees. Today, we are proceeding with the second batch of nominees. In fact, none of the nominees earlier interviewed has had a report duly moved on the floor to be taken, approved, and to be sworn in. We have become aware that Mr. President has appointed his secretary. We have become equally aware that Mr. President has appointed his chief of staff. We have become aware that Mr. President has appointed an advisor, a security advisor, to his office. These are matters of constitutional importance. There is no such cabinet yet. You cannot place something on nothing. It will fall. That is a rule. The Constitution provides for a cabinet, and we agree that that cabinet would have a secretariat. But there is no such cabinet in place, and the President has not even announced the appointment of a secretary to cabinet yet to be formed. So, Mr. Chair, we insist that this is being done in good faith. It's our duty as a minority to point out some of these things to government. We do not do this to obstruct government. In fact, for the records, this is the first time that major appointment nominations are being considered expeditiously, because our side is of the view that the government must be in shape to get the country moving. We don't want the country to be run by civil servants at the various ministries. It's the reason why we are cooperating with government. Chairman, Our second observation that has to do with a matter of national importance. And this matter is rooted in the case of Theophilus Donko versus the Attorney General,
Mr. Chairman.
decided on the 12th of June 2019.
Point of order.
And it was a matter that my respected colleague Godwin Eduji Tamaklo did at the Supreme Court. The background to this matter...
Mr. Point of order.
The background to this matter...
Mr. Chairman. Point of order.
It's as a result of...
Point of order.
Some revocation of appointments that took place in 2017. In the view of Mr. Eduji Tamaklo, certain chief executives who were appointed by the government, and for that matter, they were under Article 191 and 195, ought not to be sacked by mere operation of a change of government. This is what
Chairman, I have a point of order.
The court
I have a point of order.
said. Okay, sure. All right. Chairman, if you want to...
I recognize Honorable Yarega on a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, the standing orders of the Republic of Ghana makes provision for the establishment of committees, subcommittees, ad hoc committees, and etc. And then it provides for the scope of deliberation of committees. Scope of deliberation of committees. Everybody open your standing orders. Look at order 267. Everybody, please. I don't want us to sound like we're just being difficult. Open your standing orders. Let's read together. Order 267. 1 of 267 says that in the exercise of the oversight function of a committee, the committee may consider a matter within its mandate. A matter within its mandate. Number 1. Number 2, 2672 says that where the speaker refers a matter to a committee, the deliberations of that committee shall be confined to that matter. Shall be confined to that matter. The speaker has referred to us the nomination of Honorable Agbodza for the post of Minister for Roads, and he is before us for vetting. Our mandate is to stick to the nomination and processing, questioning him, and etc. What has that got to do with a case that Eduji has initiated? Are you getting the point? And that relates to the appointment of chief executives. Are we considering the nomination of chief executive before this committee? Are we processing any chief executive before this committee? So how does the issue of how chief executives are dismissed, how they are appointed, the proper subject of this committee's deliberation this morning? You see, we cannot, every morning that we come here, turn this platform into a press conference. We cannot do that. It cannot be tolerated. It cannot be encouraged. When somebody objects, then you say that we're trying to be difficult. Please, we're all decent gentlemen and women here. Let's keep to our mandate. We are here to consider the nomination of 3 nominees that are before us. Let's stick to that. National issues, so what is not a national issue? Whether there's a toilet in my village, it's a national issue. Whether there's water flowing in my hometown, it's a national issue. Because everybody can decide what he defines as a national issue. But we're not saying that it is not even a national issue. We're saying that by our own standing orders, it is not a matter properly before us as a committee. And we are not mandated as a committee to consider it. Please, you are a senior lawyer. You are a senior lawyer. Read these standing orders. They are very clear.
Honorable members, a point of order has been raised. I am minded to take a response from my left side. So, Honorable Chief Whip.
Chairman, thank you for tolerating me. And I listened to our colleague, our senior colleague, Nwabo Ayariga, when he copiously referenced the orders. And, Speaker, if we want to proceed on that tangent, if you are going by Order 217, I mean, in this strict sense, no, I'm referring to 217. If you are going by the strict interpretation of the orders, we don't even have our mandate to be vetting our honorable nominee. It's unfortunate this is happening whilst the nominee is here, because 217, there is inherent subject matter committee, and these committees have not been constituted yet. So if you are doing a strict interpretation of the rules, then we are not even qualified to be here. Speaker, Chairman, what the leader said is wrong. The deputy, the leader, the minority leader is seeking to raise a national issue, and it will not lie in your mouth to gag him. Earlier on, would you listen to me? Mr. Chairman, earlier on he used the word that the leader he comes here every morning seeking to belittle and also use this as a platform to make all sort of commentaries. We think it's most unfair. He should be tolerant a bit. Speaker, the point I'm essentially making... Would you listen to me? Would you listen to me?
Honorable members, order.
Chairman, so let's go.
Order.
Yes.
Let there be order. Honorable members.
Speaker, it is interesting he's going by a strict interpretation of the rules.
Well,
then let's
Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip, hold it.
But I'm not done yet. I hope you come back to
yes, honorable members, let me inform you that we have the presence of the marshal here. I don't want the situation to get to that level, particularly the non-members of the committee. So let's observe some order.
Yeah, with respect, I'll just conclude. I'll just conclude on this matter. On the matter raised by our colleague, he should just be tolerant. And earlier on, they tried to preempt even what he was going to say, which was out of place.
Well,
Speaker,
Honorable Chief, are you done?
I'm just concluding.
Okay.
So I'm saying that if we are going to go, mind you, we are masters of our own rules. If we are going to go by a strict interpretation of the orders, then let's refer to Order 217, Subject Matter Committee. No, it wasn't waived. It was not. So let's go by strict interpretation. Then this committee is not properly constituted. If we are going by a strict interpretation of the rules, look. So Speaker, our colleague is incoming.
You are not even supposed to be.
Our colleague is incoming. He has not come yet. He's incoming. He should be tolerant and listen to the minority leader.
Address the chair.
The chair, he's incoming. He hasn't come yet. He should tolerate the minority leader and listen to him. Allow the minority leader to raise all the relevant national issues.
Hold it.
Why?
Honorable Muntala.
Why?
Honorable Muntala Mohammed, I can hear you loud and clear. Wait for you to be given the floor.
Speaker, that'll be all. That'll be all.
Thank you very much. You see, honorable members, we all know, given the exigency of time, we rely on Order 3 to do certain things in the House. This morning, I have before me from the minority chief whip that Honorable Osei Nyako, Honorable Kofi Mafu are admitted as the subject matter committee members on rules and highways. Honorable members, let us not create the impression to the general public that we are not complying with Order 217. Order 217 has been complied with. Equally, I have the list of the members from the majority side on the subject matter committee members. The impression is created in the general public that admitting these people, they are friends to the committee and they are not supposed to ask questions. Let us not give credence to that kind of misinterpretation. I am placing it on record that we have the subject matter committee members sitting here. I can move further on education. We have Honorable Dr. Educhum and Honorable Ntim.
And gave our commitment that don't cancel it. Indeed, we were surprised on the day the road toll, they claimed they zeroed it. For me, it was an act of illegality. Yes, they said they just zeroed it. But it was, a road fund has got an act. It's a law. So you couldn't unilaterally do that. As a result, I believe there was some level of negligence in the way it was done. They claimed road toll was accruing only about 80 million. But today, there are contractors working for government of Ghana who are owed 5,000 cedis within the roadside. Can you imagine how many roadside weed clearers will be paid with 80 million? So they cancelled it. And our side consistently stood on principle and said, bring the road toll back. Yes, the road toll is coming back, but not in the form of building obstructions on the road for drivers to stop and somebody taking money from them. It will be coming back based on a technological platform that make it fair and that make it easy to collect, easy to account for, and for the public to know what the money is actually being used for. Together with the road minister, we shall come out with a policy as to how that will be done. That is my response. I happen to be in touch with some of the former toll booth workers, and they visited me. My colleagues on the road committee know, including my respected ranking Honorable Osei, knows that we've been meeting them. Some of them have moved on, looking for different jobs, but we know some of them are there. If we're going to run this on a new technological platform, we need to find out how many of them can actually participate, if they need retraining or whatever role they can play. So indeed, if it's coming back, we should be able to provide opportunity for some of those who have got experience in working in the toll booths. Though there will not be toll booths, if we can re-engage them in other sectors, we should be able to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And what you intend to do to improve on the road network in Ghana?
Chairman, the data from the road agencies put unconfirmed data of close to 100,000 kilometers. That is the road network in various stages. Half of that is motorable. When I say motorable, it doesn't mean they are all sealed, but they are roads you can drive on. The other half is not in a state that is very good, so we need to work on them. Indeed, there are various degrees of road. The roads leading to farms don't have to be asphalted. So we need to work out the need and find out, first of all, how we make roads motorable. Sometimes, if you check, some roads basically need spot improvement. That is, a section is in the deplorable state. Go and fix that one within a reasonable time, especially before the rain starts. If you leave it, it becomes a major problem. So what we'll be doing is to take a holistic review of the road network and see what we can do to make quick interventions to those sections that are the worst and gradually bring it up to meet those that are in the better condition.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up?
I'm not a prophet of doom, though. I anticipate you are going to have difficulty because you have stood on political platform to say, oh, Ghanaians are suffering, cost of living is high and all, blah, 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 blah. How are you going to justify the introduction of some levy or tax against all the things you've told Ghanaians? don't be careful you don't attract the anger of the Mr. President, because Mr. President has said that the price of Kenke is going to reduce. The price of export price of petrol is going to go down. So my real concern for you, my good friend.
Honorable Chief Whip, what has the price of Kenke got to do with the issue?
In context of cost
and the
of living.
reference.
It's important.
Go ahead.
Speaker, be liberal. So I have a lot of sympathies. The young, handsome Adaklu, Member of Parliament, arguably very successful Chief Whip. How are you going to balance the scale? You are introducing a levy, a tax, and yet your party, who has won to become constitutional government, has said that cost of living is going to go down. Would your levy reduce cost of living or to rather increase it? And how are you going to have the confidence to introduce it?
The good thing is that the reintroduction of road toll was part of what we put before the people of this this country, which led to this emphatic victory. They are actually expecting us to reintroduce road toll and make sure the accruals go to improve the conditions on our road. I have never met any driver who says, I don't want to pay road toll. What I hear them say all the time is, we are paying the road toll. How come our roads are still like this? So as long as we can prove to them we are using this money to improve the conditions on our road, I am sure they will be able to accommodate. However, you are also aware that when my boss, the majority leader, took the chair here, he suggested some of the draconian taxes that are going to be removed in his first budget. Those savings would make more meaning to the ordinary Ghanaian. E-levy is going, and it's a promise the president has made, and it is going. And I'm sure your constituents are going to be happy to see e-levy go. Betting tax is going, and I'm sure the young people in your constituency are going to be happy to see betting tax go. So I know you mean well together in the House, and together with my colleague, Honorable Osei Nyako, and the rest of the committee, we are going to work together to make sure the reintroduction of the road toll, together with the Ministry of Finance, makes sense, it's fair, it is collected fairly, and also it is applied to things that matter to the people of this country. Thank you. That are active, not completed. So we put a figure. The easiest way is to put the contract sum together. That is the commitment. So if you are budgeting, you need to put money aside, knowing very well this year 20% of road number 1 will be raised. So we put money aside through the finance minister. The debt is what is due to be paid. That is certificates cleared by consultants, either third-party consultants or agency, feeder roads, highways, urban road. That means that you should be writing a check to the contractors or transferring money to them. So that is the difference. One is work on site or yet to be done or certified. The other one is certified work. That is the difference between commitment and debt. GOG. Based on documents provided to the transition team, GOG is in excess of 20 billion. And then, as you and I know, there are two main sources of payment to contractors in this country: road fund and GOG. And most contractors these days, in the past, it used to be people wishing their projects are under road fund because accruals are known. But since the days of the capping of the road fund, and if I tell you the road fund story here, it's a very sorry story. Most contractors wish their projects are funded by GOG, because then the finance minister is the one who pays. So GOG is currently about 20 billion, and interest plus capital for road fund is what is 15 billion. Interesting thing about certificates is that even if you were to go to the ministry today and they give you a sum of money as money they owe in the morning, in the afternoon, you could find a different figure, because contractors are working 24/7 and are raising certificates on daily basis. So they always say this is as of the time they give us. So that is why I'm saying to you, from the document we cited from the transition team, which is a ministry document, the figures are what I've put out. It could end up being more than this, or unless maybe they paid some huge amount of money before producing this document, then it could be slightly less. Chairman, my respected ranking and a good friend is right. From the matrix we have seen over the years, we have always argued that for us to be able to make a good impact on the road interventions, the country must be generating and setting aside between 6 to 10 billion cedis of our own money, not borrowed money. How do we fund this? If you speak to the former Minister of Roads and Highways, Honorable Makwata, you are aware we were close to having a national dialogue on how to fund roads and make it open to Ghanaians. How much can we pay to be able to get the quality of roads we need? Unfortunately, that engagement never took place before he left. And the new minister, our colleague in Parliament, Honorable Asenso, was also in the process. So there's a cohort of people who believe that we should engage Ghanaians on how we fund roads. Together with the committee and the Ministry of Finance, I think we should be plain to Ghanaians. We need to open up the discussion about how we fund roads in our country and make sure whatever agreement we have, the monies are applied. I have argued, and you know about it, when we tell people pay road tolls, and the people pay road tolls, and you take more than half of that money to do free SHS, if you want money for free SHS, ask for money for free SHS. I'm not saying free SHS is not necessary, but when you take money for road, apply that money for road interventions. So as long as we can do this and be open and honest to Ghanaians, whatever they agree, we apply to the roads, and then we can get some improvement. Thank you, Chairman. Why we see what we call shoddy works on our roads. Many things account for that. Sometimes it's not even the knowledge of the contractor. Indeed, there is always that 12-month defect liability period on construction projects. But sometimes, especially if you watch asphaltic overlay, it embellishes the problem so neatly for few months that you may never know what is beneath. But after a few months, you realize that it has failed completely. Not only the contractors. I'm an architect by profession. If I practice elsewhere outside this country, the employer insists I take professional indemnity insurance before I touch his or her work. i.e., so if the work fails, he can draw on the professional indemnity to get some compensation. Is it time for consultants taking on huge government contracts to take the appropriate indemnity to cover the services they are providing? Because the Ghanaian doesn't understand why you would do a project in his backyard, a road to say, and 6 months the rain washes the whole thing away, and then we are looking for another money to come and start. So it will be a combination of these things. I've heard people talk about increase the defect liability period to 24 months. That will not necessarily solve the problem. The problem is that we need to build the capacity and put some of the risk on the back of the consultants and others, but also to encourage government to pay contractors and consultants on time to be able to execute the works within schedule. That I come into this role with huge expectation, starting from colleagues. On record, the road minister answers the largest number of questions in Parliament, more than any minister. And I must commend Honorable Makwata for that diligence. As long as he's available on Fridays, he'll come and answer the questions. And I used to tease him that as for answering the question, he will answer. As of whether he will do the road is another matter, because of the same thing you are talking about. Well, the president who appointed me has made one solemn promise. That is to be candid with the people of our country. So wherever we are doing anything, you let the people know. Indeed, we are not going to find it easy to satisfy everybody in terms of how quickly the road leading to the places we live are done. But what we are committed to is to make sure that whatever resources we have and apply to the road interventions, we'll make sure everybody understands what is in the kitty and what we can get. When my boss, the majority leader, sat in this chair, he painted another figure, which is something we should all be thinking about. As you know, as part of the debt restructuring, government postponed a chunk of our repayment or interest until this year. One bullet payment was just done a few weeks ago when the former finance minister told us. But there are bigger ones ahead of us that we must clear. So we would spend whatever is available to be spent on the road. But as of where we find the money, that is the responsibility of the finance minister to carry. My job is to package projects, make sure they meet value for money, and his job is to fund it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. An indication regarding that when I spoke about the reintroduction of road toll. But I know funding would go beyond just road tolls. And so we are going to consider all those things, including other sources. But like I said, it is not for me to state all the sources that would accrue to road funding. That is the job of the finance minister. I was happy you mentioned Eastern Corridor as one of the things the president actually committed to. It's a project in 6 lots. I think half or so have been done. But from the motorway, actually, okay, you are not there. My colleagues, we approved a loan to a company called Inzac. I'm sure they all got caught up in the debt restructuring. So if you go there, the contractors appear to be working, but the rate at which they are working isn't encouraging. So we have our work cut out to make sure we turn things around, and we are committed to doing that. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, yes, I remember the president appearing in the House as part of his constitutional mandate to update the House on what is happening in the country. And he made us aware of a certain figure of, at that time, new roads. It wasn't pleasant to try to contradict the president because his source of information are better than mine. But the figure 11,000 just jumped out as new roads. And my side said that was a bit less than the truth. Since then, the agencies under the road ministry attempted to adjust the figure as part of the transition. And you remember our view was that only 617 kilometers of roads were new roads, so to stay, at the time. At the transition, they provided details. At the time of the transition, the new roads constructed is 673, which is not far from the 617 we talked about at that time, because it means that few more roads have been completed. So that issue is in a record of the Parliament that indeed Ghana did not construct 11,000 kilometers of new roads since 2017. Rather, 673 kilometers have been constructed as new roads. The bulk of the work in the 13,624.25 kilometers is regraveling and graveling. That is 6,185.90 kilometers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The President has already given an indication that he will complete ongoing projects. So we have made that commitment and we intend to follow that. But I can foresee a situation where out of need, we may have to start some new project to address urgent issues. But the first year, our commitment will be to focus on critical road projects which have been abandoned to make them motorable for the use to which it was originally intended. Big push is President Mahama's big intervention on infrastructure. As a sector minister for roads and highways, it is my responsibility, as I said, to identify critical road projects, package them after design and everything, make sure it meets the required value for money features, and present them to the Minister of Finance for financing. As we are all aware, the big push is a 4-year, $10 billion proposal. The projects that will go into this basket of projects ought to be cutting edge and the ones that make significant intervention in whichever sector. So they are not necessarily road projects worth 10 billion. They are just big, significant infrastructure projects worth 10 billion. So it equates to about 2.5 billion annually for the 4 years. Few factors as the reason the roads fail. 2 days ago, I was getting a briefing to the effect that even the materials we use. In some countries, the bitumen that is used on their road are produced by themselves. So the engineers determine the composition. If you watch in our country, even some contractors buy bitumen in drums, imported from somewhere. Nobody is able to determine whether this bitumen is good for our climate. So the materials we use, the design of the road, the supervision. One issue facing the road agencies. Some agencies have, which are supposed to be an engineering outfit, which requires civil engineers, mechanical engineers, quantity surveyors, have more administrative staff than engineers. So you could see an engineer supervising a project, and the capacity is not even there for him or her to be able to do this in reasonable time. So we ought to work on the staffing of the road agencies to have the qualified staff. I've also seen documents that suggest that some of the agencies, the level of the new engineers, the current engineers, compared to when they will retire, there's going to be a gap because we are not recruiting new engineers to be trained enough before they exit. So it will be a combination of how we select materials, the design, the capacity of the contractors, and also government ability to pay contractors expeditiously when works are done. When contractors work, they are not paid. They vacate the site, and you pay them some time. What happens is that once the money is not theirs, the bank takes the money. You can't actually know whether they've gone to the site to do anything. So to be able to deal with this matter, we should address it on all fours. Otherwise, we will see what we are seeing, where you spend 4 billion on a project and then 10 billion as interest on that 4 billion. It's unacceptable and not sustainable. I think a combination of both. And fortunately, Ghana has one of the best training institutes at Koforidua, where they train in-house training. Even members of parliament, we do get some capacity building sometimes within our committees to be able to be effective. So indeed, those in the service already need, to update their knowledge. But critically, we need to recruit new engineers and give them that capacity so that we can have a good number of people deployed on the almost 4,000 different road projects going on at the same time across the country. The projects that we are going to prepare for big push are not for abandoned projects, small projects. I already said they are the key big intervention projects. For instance, there has been on the drawing board for some time an orbital around Accra, which goes Chopoli all the way to Bujumbura. That project, over 100 kilometers of road, makes a significant intervention in terms of traffic management within the Accra itself. That project ought to be prepared properly, costed, make sure value for money is done, and then presented to the finance minister for funding. At the same time, it is the responsibility of finance ministry to continue funding projects that are on site. So big push is not about completing the projects already on site, but the major intervention project that can actually pay for itself, that can actually make huge impact on the country. So that is the difference. So we're not going to stop ongoing projects. The president has already made a commitment to that. However, the big push projects are dedicated and significant projects that are not going to be rushed, that are going to be done effectively so that all Ghanaians will get the impact of those projects. So that is the difference between the big push basket of projects which are yet to be developed and ongoing projects. My good friend, I call you Kofi, but today Honorable Kofi Mafo. The reason I say it's a wasted fund is this. If we owe 113 million, and because we are unable to pay, the interest on the 113 million is now 665 million. What it means is that the 665 million is a waste to the people of this country, because that money is not 665 million Ghana cedi worth of road works. It's just the 30% compounding interest on the unpaid certificate. That is what it is. Ghanaians get 113 million worth of road, but they pay extra 665 million extra money for nothing. There's as interest. There can't be a waste bigger than that. And I'm not saying it's peculiar. It only started today. It is the way road construction contracts are put together in this country. There's something wrong with it. It is not the fault of even the contractors, because I earlier said they borrow money to do this work. If we were to pay them on time, there wouldn't have been the interest compounding. So I don't even blame them, because the 665 doesn't even go to them. Perhaps they borrowed money from the bank, and they have to give them that money back to the bank. So the only winners in this case might be the banks. But is a road ministry supposed to be a source of good business for a bank this way? Yes, they can be good business, but not in this format. My answer to that, I've already provided that. As for payment, it is the Ministry of Finance job to find the money. But what I can do to help, and as I stated earlier, is to bring together the stakeholders, contractors and everybody. I am sure if we were to call contractors and sit down with them and say, look, this debt, frankly speaking, the finance minister, who is the leader of the house, has already stated, if all the taxes we collect is 200 million, a billion, you can't hand over all that to just one ministry. And if you keep that money on the books, it keeps getting worse. So maybe, we need to sit down with all the stakeholders to see where we cut our losses. Do we agree with them? We pay you off a certain amount of money. If you owe a bank, we can draw the bank in. After all, did we not see the whole country try to negotiate debt that is owed, even individuals? So I think that the time has come for us to bring together all players in the road sector to see how we can make this sustainable. You see, if government keep owing and we are not paying, we are not even a better customer to the contractor. That is why today you call some contractors, want to award them work, they will tell you it's better to sleep than to take the job, because they take the job and he's got debt on his head. So we need to make construction attractive business, to recruit and give employment to young people, especially those in the technical fields, engineers and everything. At the moment, that is not happening. So we'll sit down with the stakeholders to see, maybe the committee can get involved, as we call the stakeholders, and chart a new path. Surely, this is not sustainable. We can't continue this way. Advocate of decapping statutory funds, especially road fund. I worked out something. When you see the amount of money collected into the road fund and the amount of money released to them and the one that government pays at GOG, it turns out that basically the finance ministry just take part of the road fund and keep it and give it back to them as GOG funds. So in other words, they don't actually put in much money of themselves. I would still continue to advocate for the road fund to be decapped, because it is better for them to have that money and pay off contractors that they owe to stop the compounding interest than to keep on capping, taking away more than 50% of their money, and then the problem stays with all of us. So I'll continue to advocate for decapping of road fund. Actually, I spoke in context. And the rebuttal by Immigration Service, I didn't see how that is a rebuttal. I see it as even a confirmation of what I said. Because, in effect, what they have said is that they were talking about the total cost, the life cycle cost of the project, which is what? 297 million instead of the 240 million. So I was wondering what kind of rebuttal is that I allege that you were doing something for 240, and you come out to confirm that you were doing it for 297. But the difficulty for Ghana Immigration Service is that they probably don't know what they were doing. Indeed, the few physical immigration, e-gates that were planted could cost 1.7 million Ghana cedi. But if government had listened to what I was saying, it wouldn't have resulted into some of the embarrassment we saw at the airport when the vice president was trying to commission it. The former vice president. If I were to tell you today that there is not even any contract for the e-gate, there is no contract. So what the 1.7 million they were talking about, there's no contract. And they didn't know. I'm a ranking. I have information. This is a letter signed, this is a memo from the Ministry of Finance. When I started talking, do you know what they did? This memo is dated 19th March 2024. And what is the memo saying? Submission of final proposal on the development of a national border management system. Are you aware that this project is already being implemented by Ghana Civil Aviation Authority? And the e-gate was supposed to be done for free. Why are we even supposed to pay $1 for something that we are supposed to get for free? So when you see, when they started backtracking, do you know what they did? They now went and did this memo, and the memo title I've given you. And now they said...
Honorable Kennedy Nyako and Honorable Yusuf, order.
Let me read to you. They said contract value, 147,765,627 million dollars. Then they said contract duration, 10 years. Support and management fee, 10%. Support and maintenance fee, 18%. I repeat, Ghana ought not pay even $1 for the so-called e-gate project. In fact, whilst we were at the discussion, they were now at Ministry of Finance trying to do VFM for a project that has already been implemented. I am sure when the nominee for transport appears, you can get more details of that. So, Immigration Service, you have basically confirmed my allegation that you have forgotten that the implementation of this rests in the domain of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. You have no business carrying out this. And this is a UN Security Council resolution. It lies with Ghana Airport Company Limited. So I have not said anything that I need to depart from, but to repeat that what they were doing was not right, there's no contract, and it's no value for money.
Honourable Member, you have your Chairman, last follow-up question.
Chairman,
do you have any?
Please, Chairman, with all respect to you. Chairman, with due respect, that is why we have
stated that there wasn't any contract for the e-gate. I'm surprised. That is the first one. Second, he claimed that same project is being done by Civil Aviation Authority. These are two different projects. The e-gate was started by the World Bank. They did a few ones, and at a point in time, there was no funding, so after the World Bank project, it was suspended. Now Ghana Immigration Service decided to find an innovative means to get the rest to be done. It is not, the cost of the project is not going to be borne by the government of Ghana. Passengers will be paid. They are going to pay for it. It's part of the ticket. And secondly, the API project.
Order. I believe the nominee is capable of dealing with the issue.
The airport passenger information project, which is being done by Civil Aviation Authority, is completely different from what the Immigration Service is doing. So I just want to put it on record. I don't know where he got his information from, but I believe some of this we need to put it in the proper context, not to degenerate any kind of controversies at the end. So
Thank you very much. Honorable nominee, any comment?
Those of us who travel through some airports, let's take Singapore. You'll notice that when you get to the airport, you don't meet any immigration officer. You take your passport, place it on the e-gate, and it goes through. It is only when they have issues with you that they will direct you to a human being. Why? Because you have provided information already to the authorities in Singapore, and they've checked it, and you are okay. So he's right. When we talk about this, people think we are talking about, initially, immigration said it costs 1.7 million cedis. It is an integrated project. If you read their press release, and I think Graphic published it, they confirmed that, yes, point number 5, the e-gate system alone comprises 15 units of e-gate with accessories, which form part of the border management system being installed at KIA at a cost of $1.7 million. And if you go back, point number 6, they then go on and say that the 240 million referenced in the in circulation in the article they are referring to me on my social media handle relates to the whole life cycle cost, and the project, including the initial implementation, would cost $94 million. Who says Ghanaians are not going to pay? If you take tax from Ghanaians on behalf of government, it's government money. Why is the entity, this particular entity, believe that something that another entity is ready to do for free? And I'm repeating, this e-gate integrated system is already part of what another entity is doing for free. The records are there. Go to Ghana Airport, Ghana Civil Aviation Authority today and find out whether they have started implementing a project which would have provided the e-gate for free, and come and report to the committee. So this matter must be settled, and that is why I say that Ghana Immigration Service did not debunk me. They actually confirmed what I have said. I know exactly what I'm saying, and I would even encourage them. As far as the UN resolution is concerned, UN Security Council resolution is concerned, it is the law that we have done for Ghana Civil Aviation Authority that is what is supposed to be used to implement this. Immigration officials are only supposed to play a role. Second, it is also something that Ghanaians should look at. Today, we have over 1,000 immigration officers working at the airport. Can you believe it? 1,000 immigration officers at Kotoka alone. Yes. It turns out some people have to go to work once every 2 weeks. So I'm not saying immigration officers are not needed, but which country do you go to that before you check in your bag, somebody checks you? After you check in your bag, before you even approach the immigration officer, 2 more immigration officers look at your passport and give it back to you. Then you go into the booth. Then they stamp your passport. Then when you get out, another immigration officer sees you. Then when you finish and they scan you, somebody is also looking at. Which airport do you see this? It makes experience of when we advertise that Ghana is a gateway for tourism and other things. We all have friends who are expatriates. They don't enjoy this experience. They get treated as if they are criminals until they are proven otherwise. So we need to work on this. So I encourage Ghana Immigration Service, please work with Ghana Civil Aviation Authority to implement this project. And at all costs, if we can get it for free, don't even attempt to take $1 from anybody. Thank you very much, Honorable Yusuf, for this very important question. I remember the story was linked to the former Vice President when he visited one of the roads in Tema. Actually, that project was being executed by a private entity. Exactly. So he went there and saw what was going on and liked it and said, henceforth, you're not going to see asphalt, you're going to see concrete roads everywhere. The fact is that I am not aware government has constructed any concrete road anywhere. It is also misleading to say concrete roads will be cheaper than asphalt, because the QSs and engineers will tell you the road you see as concrete road is actually a reinforced concrete slab. That is one of the highest level of concrete with steel in it. So how is that supposed to be cheaper than in fact, you can get anything between 15 to 30% depending on the mix of the concrete as the additional cost over asphalt. So yes, in some cases, if we can, we should build concrete road. Currently, the only public concrete road of significance is the Accra-Tema motorway built by President Nkrumah. I'm not aware of any major concrete road project currently ongoing or completed.
Should be a bit tolerant. And as long as Chief Whip should be tolerant, and as long as the former president will take all the benefits that are due a former vice president, we will refer to him as and when it's necessary.
Proceed to ask your question.
Yes, Chairman, I will do that. Chairman, even though the nominee has already answered a question on abandoned roads, I want to find out. There were some roads that were abandoned for political reasons. For instance, take roads in the Bole Bamboy constituency. All roads that were started under the NDC administration in 2015-2016 were all abandoned. As a member of parliament, I asked a question on the floor of parliament as to when those roads were going to be fixed. And I remember very well, my good friend, Honorable Patrick Boama, interjected and said that what was Mama doing and he didn't fix the roads? What was President Mama doing and he didn't fix the roads when he was the president? Today, if we are going to address the issue of abandoned roads, will you consider prioritizing those that were abandoned for political reasons to complete them before you look at other roads? That's my question.
A good colleague. That will be priority number one in terms of completing abandoned road projects.
So you have a follow-up on that? No, a member has a follow-up. So my last one. I recognize Patrick.
No, my last one.
Chairman, I was just
in commentaries.
Mr. Chairman, those are the ones that makes the question sweet. Mr. Nominee, my third question is that one of the major roads.
Thank you.
Order.
Thank you, my very, very good friend, Honorable Yusuf. As long as you say about those projects, that is priority number 2.
No, I have a follow-up on this. Follow-up. I have a follow-up.
Thank you very much.
I have a follow-up.
A follow-up on the Tachiman.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, he asked a very important question. The principle is that you should spend more on maintenance of your existing roads than building new roads. So, but the records we have in terms of road maintenance, and my colleagues on the road committee can tell, things have gone really bad in the past 8 years. In fact, the record of road maintenance we had in 2016 is unmatched till today. If you check 2023 record, in areas that we do 9,000 kilometers, the MPP government was doing just 3,000. So they have really let the country down in terms of road maintenance program. So I said it in one of my initial responses that we need to commit more to road maintenance. Sometimes all you need to do is to spend a little amount of money to address a spot improvement. Yes. And the road can still continue to be motorable. But once you abandon it, it becomes a major problem and makes the whole road, the use of the road, not safe at all. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, honorable members.